So today, I am going to be starting. I just want to do an intro video. I've been told that I need to be more personal and tell you guys about my journey, how I got started, my motivation for getting started, my motivation for being in the financial services field, and whether some of the accidents that happened along the way, and just so you know a little bit more about myself, so you can understand and relate to why I have a passion, a deeper purpose for what I'm doing. So I'm gonna start with, I'm actually gonna tell you guys about why I think that this is something, financial literacy, financial wellness, and knowledge of finances, budgeting, understanding what you're doing in your business life, your personal life, and your journey, because your life is a journey and there are certain parts in your journey that you have. And there are three parts that I believe works with your wellness, that comes into your wellness. And one is, of course, your health, which you have doctors and you're always working on that. The one thing that your doctor can't do is they can't advise you, help you, or prescribe for you unless they know about you, or unless you help them. They can give you the medicine, but it's not a he does and I listen type of thing. It is a cohesive thing that you do together, you and your doctors, you and your nutritionist, you and your lifestyle. So there's all different parts to your physical wellness. That's the same thing. It goes for mental wellness. You have to understand what's happening within you. You have to understand what is going on, your counselor, your motivations for doing things, your struggles, and you need to bring all of that together, whether you have a counselor that's helping you, you're working on these things yourself, your family, your friends, your education, all the things, your significant other, those are all things that come into the mental wellness. Well, for me, financial wellness is the third part of this. And you can't have the first two without having the third. So if you are not financially well, the saddest thing is I'm always going to, a very passionate program here, that a very passionate non-for-profit in Palm Beach County here called 211. And they are focuses on, suicide awareness, and they are a suicide hotline here, and they talk about all the different things that helps people. And a lot of people, when they have their notes or they have something to talk about, it's usually finances, or fighting about financing, or arguing about finances is one of the things that people contemplate suicide about. It's one of the things that leads them to making that decision, or contributes to their mental health. And it does also affect your physical health, because if you have high blood pressure because you have high anxiety, then that will cause issues with your physical health. So those are the financial part of our life's journey is a pertinent part that a lot of us are afraid to talk about. We're afraid to talk about it, and we are afraid to address it. We feel like if we don't look at it, then we don't have to talk about it. We avoid it. I mean, procrastination. I am a total procrastinator when it comes to certain things that I don't want to do. And finances is something that people don't want to look at. And they think if they're not looking at it, that it's going to go away. Well, it does not go away. It's a part of all of our lives. It's a part of you when you're starting to walk, to when you pass away, and even after death. Financial literacy, financial education, financial wellness is pertinent to you living a well life. So that is one of my deeper purpose of starting this journey with financial education and teaching financial literacy, and helping people to understand where they're at in life. I am not a big believer in deprivation. I am also not a big believer in instant gratification. So we're going to discuss that further when you understand, so you understand a little bit more about my motivation and the different things that we need to talk about. I want to tell you guys about my journey and where I'm at. We're also going to talk about a little bit about my family, and everything that we talk about today is going to tell you why I want to do what I'm doing, and my motivation for doing it, and what I'm going to get out of doing it, and what I'm trying to give for doing this. So I know that there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of people that are trying to teach you different things, whether it's a business, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a business person, or you're an individual that's thinking about different things. There is no fast get there quickly rule. There's no binge diet for financial wellness. It is part of your life journey. You cannot binge on it and live one way for 6 months and then go back to your old ways. It's a mindset. I call it the money mindset. So you have to have the right mindset going into these things. Now, there are little caveats and little things that we can teach you along the way if you're in certain situation like debt, where you can add to your journey for a temporary part of your journey to reduce your debt, or little things along the way depending on what your financial goal is, whether it is you're trying to buy a house, or you're sending a kid to college, and all these different things. There are little things that go along the way that you add into, they're inserts to your whole money mindset. But there's no one thing, there's no binge way to do it. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to do this for 6 months and I'm going to be straight and narrow. And then what happens? When you go on a binge diet, what happens? You go on a diet and you deprive yourself. You deprive yourself of everything that you love and everything that you want. Because I want to lose 50 pounds in 6 months. And then that's what you do. What happens when you lose the 50 pounds? If you look at statistics, and you can go ahead and review the statistics, I haven't gone down to the actual numbers, but I can guarantee you that over 50% of those people that goes on the binge diet end up gaining more weight and becoming less healthy, more unhealthy when they're done. So it's the same thing with finances. You cannot binge on anything. If you binge, then you're going to go back to your old ways, and then you're going to end up worse off than you were at the beginning. So you have to think of it as a money mindset, as a mindset of financial on your journey, your life's journey. It has to be something that you're doing. That's why I don't believe in the deprive way of doing things, or I also don't believe in the instant gratification way of doing things, because I believe both of those things gets us into trouble in one way or another. So that's one of my mottos. One of my mottos is, that my mottos, my philosophy, whatever you want to call it, is finances and living a financial well life is not about deprivation. The modern world, meaning the generation just below me, and the generation, I'm 48 years old, so the generation below me, and maybe even some of my generation, they are all about instant gratification. They want their Uber Eats now. They want everything now. They want the best house ever now. They want the best car now. They want everything now. Well, if you're gonna think like that, you're gonna get into trouble, because there's no way. It is impossible, unless you win the lotto, to get everything now. And even when that happens, go back to the statistics, most lotto winners after a while end up filing for bankruptcy because they did not manage their money well. They had endless billions, millions of dollars, and they have not managed it well. It's the same thing with athletes and entertainers. If they're not managing their money well, they end up filing for bankruptcy, they end up in debt, they end up with all these different things. It doesn't matter how much money they make, and it matters what you're keeping. It matters how you're living your life journey. Your money mindset will explain and will help you to understand what you're keeping by building your wealth. So that's part of it. So, and then we have the generation that's above me. So 48 years old, maybe 50, 60, 70 generation. And I'll include some of the immigrant generation in there that are not that came to this country. Is they believe in deprivation. Don't get me wrong. They will not go to dinner. They will not go to the movies. They deprive themselves of everything. They will not entertain themselves, but they will save money. They will buy a house. They will build wealth. But are they living? So, I don't believe in that either. I believe that God gave us life and we should live it moderately. Everything in moderation. That's what I'm always telling my children. That's what I'm always telling my clients. Everything in moderation. Too much of anything is no good. Even if you're having something that is super good for you, too much of it is no good. Too much vitamins is no good. Too much medicine is no good. Too much green broccoli is no good. It's going to give you gas. So, it doesn't matter how good something is for you. If you take too much of it, it is no good. It's the same thing that with bad things that are for you. It's the same way. If you take too much of it, it is not going to work for you. So that is what my motto is. My number one motto is moderation. I live my life moderately. I don't believe in depriving myself of things or of anything. I also do not believe in instant gratification, because that will get me into the big deep hole. And I don't believe that instant gratification works for any of us, because you instant gratification yourself, you get into all this trouble, and then you spend the rest of your life digging yourself out of it. So what is the purpose of that? You're gratified for what? A year, 2 years, maybe, I don't know how long. And then what happens the rest of the time? So if you want to have the money mindset and live comfortably, you have to think about moderating everything. Too much of anything is no good. Again, I say too much of coffee is no good, which I love, but I can't have too much of it. So you always have to draw that line, fine line, moderation. You're moderate about doing things. So thank you for listening to my intro video. I hope this explains a little bit about who I am, what my motivations are, what I'm trying to give you, and why I'm trying to give it to you. And you continue on this journey with me, so I can, you join me on this journey so I can give of myself what God's gifts that He's given me to help you with your life and your financial journey and your financial wellness. This is Sherron, the Modern Savvy CPA. Thank you.